started to pray, remember it and feel it, I felt like my heart just ripped open. It was that next year where I became a Muslim, alhamdulillah. Muslim oldu.
His meeting with the grandson of the famous Sufi poet and scholar Jalaluddin Rumi sparked the interest of Craig Victor Fenter, a pastor in the United States, to study Islam. Fenter eventually decided to embrace Islam by reciting the Shahada in 2006. Here is his story. Craig Victor Fenter was born in 1955 in the state of North Carolina, USA, and raised in Los Angeles. He grew up with a strong religious education background, attended a religious school, and became a pastor. For a decade, Fenter taught religious classes at universities in the United States. However, over time, he began to feel a spiritual emptiness within himself. He tried to find the cause of that emptiness, until in 2004 he met Esin Celebi Bayru, the 22nd generation granddaughter of Rumi, during a program in the United States. After learning about Rumi and Islam, Fenter became interested. He then visited Konya in 2005 at Bayru's invitation to attend the commemoration of Rumi's passing. There he witnessed Seb-i Arus, the night of reunion, when Rumi united with God, which is commemorated in a special ceremony. Fenter was deeply impressed by Rumi's story, the Sufi dance known as the Sema ceremony, and the spiritual atmosphere during the event. In 2006, he decided to embrace Islam and changed his name to Ismail Fenter. Religion was very important to my family. My grandmother wanted me to become a pastor. I went to seminary to study priesthood, he said. Every Sunday, Fenter never missed going to church. However, he admitted that many things did not make sense to him at the time. I believed in God, but something felt wrong. The information I was trying to teach my students no longer made sense to me. So I spent most of my life searching. I used to teach at a seminary, but I didn't believe in what I was teaching, he said. Fenter then decided to stop teaching and leave the church to return to California and reunite with his family. He began to fill his life with studying music, but the emptiness still lingered. There was a lot of music, but my heart was empty. The applause from people was great, but something was missing, Fenter said. Then someone suggested that he meet Bayru, who was in San Francisco for a program. The meeting took place, and in front of Bayru, Fenter shared his feeling of emptiness. I told him, I feel like I'm at the bottom of the ocean. I said, I don't know where the treasure is. He said to me, you have found the treasure because you are searching for it. This statement really impressed me. Then at Bayru's invitation, I went to Konya in central Turkey in December 2005 and witnessed the Seb-i Arus ceremony, said Fenter. Fenter also said he felt something special while watching the dervishes spin. He also visited the Mevlana Museum when he was in Konya. During his time in Konya, Fenter learned a lot about Islam and Sufism from Nader Karnabuyuk, a Sufi teacher he met at the ceremony. I stopped and watched him, Karnabuyuk, and looked around while he was praying. Then he called me to pray as well. Not knowing what to do, I walked towards the Niyaz Pencerisi, window of hope, said Fenter, adding that he began to pray. Then something happened. I don't know what happened, but I was astonished. I felt like my heart was torn and I cried. I felt like Rumi was calling me. I cried for hours, he revealed. At that moment, Fenter felt that this was the place he had been searching for all along, the place he needed. Rumi's path is the path of Prophet Muhammad. I knew this was the truth. I will become a Muslim next year, he added. He then visited Konya every year because he believed it was the right place to learn more about Rumi. Following Rumi's path was different from living in the US, so he decided to move to Konya. One night, a young dervish, a follower of Rumi, asked about my family and I said, my parents have passed away. He looked at me and said, we are your family. That was one of the most important things someone has ever said to me. That's why I kept coming to Konya and eventually settled there, he said. Maybor Stanislas never imagined that his life would change so drastically. As a young bishop at the age of 30, he held an honorable position in the church, representing 8 provinces in Burundi and overseeing dozens of priests. To him, Christianity was the only path to salvation. Islam, not only was it wrong, but it was a religion he hated with all his heart. But life is a mystery. In 2013, without any intention, Stanislas attended a debate between Christian and Muslim leaders. Initially, he came with the goal of defending his faith. He was confident he could dismantle the arguments of the Muslims present. But what happened was the opposite. His defense began to falter. The verses from the Quran recited during the debate resonated deeply within him. He started questioning the doctrines he had held on to so tightly. There was something in the Quran that I couldn't deny, he recalled. Those verses spoke with a logic and peace he had never encountered in the texts he had studied. At the time, he didn't know that the seed of truth had been planted in his heart. He attended debate after debate, hoping to strengthen his faith once more. But the more he listened, the greater his doubts became. Quranic verses about the oneness of Allah and the role of Jesus as a prophet of humanity, not the Son of God, slowly replaced his previous beliefs. He was shaken. Had he been teaching lies to the priests under his care all this time? Finally, the turning point came. With full conviction, Stanislas decided to embrace Islam. I knew this would be a difficult path, he said. He changed his name to Maybor Abdullah as a symbol of his new journey. But this decision did not come without consequences. News of his conversion to Islam spread like wildfire in his community. The church acted quickly. They revoked all financial rights previously granted to him. The house he had lived in, which belonged to the church, was taken away. His reputation was destroyed. He was even accused of being possessed by evil spirits by security authorities. They wanted to see me crushed, but I found an irreplaceable peace in Islam, he said, his eyes glistening with tears. Under mounting pressure, Abdullah was forced to leave everything behind and move to Muyinga province. There he started a new life as a Muslim. Though it was difficult, he felt free for the first time. He continued his Islamic studies in Gitega and at Zawiya school, deepening his knowledge of the religion that strengthened his faith. After months of learning, Abdullah decided to take a bold step. He began preaching to Christians in the 8 provinces he had once overseen. Allah has given me the strength to change thousands of hearts, he said. Within a year, he successfully helped many people embrace Islam. In 2017, his life's journey reached a peak he had never imagined. He received an invitation from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to perform Hajj. He could hardly believe it. I asked myself, is this real? Is God truly calling me to perform Hajj? Even though I didn't have a single penny, he said with an emotional voice. When he saw the Kaaba for the first time, tears streamed down his face. All the pain, betrayal, and suffering he had endured seemed to vanish. I realized that Allah had planned everything for me. Everything I went through led me to this place. This is the truth, and I am grateful for it. Today, Maybor Abdullah is an inspiring figure for many. From a bishop who hated Islam, he has become a preacher spreading messages of peace and truth to the world. True happiness is found in walking the path of Allah, he said with a smile full of conviction. Maybor Abdullah's journey is a living testament that guidance can come to anyone, anywhere, at any time. From a bishop who despised Islam, he transformed into a steadfast preacher on the path of Allah. The challenges, insults, and pressures he faced did not extinguish his spirit. Instead, they only strengthened his faith. Now he continues to preach, spreading the peaceful messages of Islam and helping others find the truth. My life is proof that Allah always has the best plan, he said. With unwavering conviction, Maybor Abdullah moves forward, proving that true happiness can only be found in submission to the Creator.